Hello. We're going to be talking about the unusual colors in the sky we've been seeing and why they're happening, unusual weather patterns and stuff like that. Basically, we have a lot of signs that our planet is trying to tell us something is very, very wrong. Um, what you're seeing, this is a picture of the sun yesterday, uh, Sunday, July 5th. And what's unusual about this is the color of the sun. There's been an orange sunrises, very reddish. People are reporting reddish sunrises. The moon's unusually has an unusual color to it. This is due to fires burning in Western Canada. The smoke is traveling all the way from Western Canada to the northeast, to the east coast. It's gone all over the whole country. And so what you're looking at here is a picture of that sunset on the 5th. And let's go ahead and look at the sunrise. This is the sunrise on the 5th. Highly unusual. Look at these unusual colors that you're seeing. This is all due to smoke in the atmosphere, higher up in the atmosphere. We're not at the ground level. That is causing these unusual sunrises and sunsets and hazy skies. Again, this was the sun on July 5th. These are all from July 5th. Unusual color of the sky, unusual sun. But this isn't the first time it's happened. This is from last year. Last August, as a matter of fact, we had a similar problem, a similar thing going on in the Yellowknife area in the Northwest Territories of Canada. Huge fires burning. The smoke drifted all the way over to the East Coast. And very unusual, I might add. Extremely unusual. But this is because of these fires burning, again, that happened last year. So usually when we have wildfires burning, the smoke does not travel this far. We're talking thousands of miles here. Again, this was the sky. This was what the sky looked like last year, last August. A similar event. Very unusually hazy skies. We're not seeing blue skies in the summer anymore because of the smoke from all these fires. Another sign of climate change for you. And there is another image of the sun setting. This was from last August again. Very unusual colors, similar to what we're experiencing now due to fires, smoke from fires in Western Canada. I don't ever remember this happening. Very unusual. Another image there of the sun. And this was during the day, middle of the day. The sky had like a silvery. This was from last year, but you're probably seeing this as well now. A silvery, unusually hazy look to it, but not the kind of haze that you see when it's hot and humid out. A different kind of haze. This, again, is smoke at the higher levels in the atmosphere. And those are the images from that. And I have one. All right, this is back from April. This is April, late April. It's April 21st. And we have the same thing again. This smoke here was actually all the way from Siberia. Wildfires in Siberia, that's right. That's right. And I'm going to go ahead and show you that. Unusual, again, the same thing again. This was in April. So where are the deep blue skies going? Well, unfortunately, this is another sign of our climate changing. And next, I'm going to take you to satellite imagery of all this smoke that is traveling to us right now. The imagery you are now looking at is satellite imagery from NASA's MODIS site. And this is great satellite imagery tracking weather, not just weather, it's visible satellite, but also smoke from fires. This image here is from this past June 28th. And you can see the smoke, and I'm going to show you how the smoke is just traveling along here. And this is smoke from the fires in Canada that are, you can see how it's drifting into the jet stream here. and getting pulled down. And again, you could clearly see the smoke, literally a thick band of smoke. Look at how far this is traveling. We're talking over 1,000 miles at least. Over 1,000 miles. Look at that. That is crazy. And now you can see in this image how it's gotten pulled down into the jet stream now, and literally is literally now digging down into the Midwest, all the way down to. This is all at the higher levels. People aren't smelling this at the surface. It's all getting at the higher levels. It's filtering the sun. It's creating those unusual colors. And you can clearly see the weather pattern, and this is why I like this particular image here. You can see the ridge in the west and the trough over the Great Lakes. And that's the pattern we've been stuck in for the past, since the summer began almost. Since June began, we've been stuck in a pattern like this. There's been this used to, the Pacific Northwest, Western Canada, used to have a very cool, wet climate in the summer, but that climate has changed to being very hot and dry. And what that means is that these fires literally just get out of control. You add to the fact that because of climate change, you have the beetles killing the trees. There are other types of pine and spruce beetles that are killing all the trees in the boreal forest over here. It really is causing a lot of problems with the forest drying out. Boreal forests, some trees like jack pine are fire resistant. We don't know what this is going to mean for the forest in the long term. It could possibly mean the introduction of, more temperate pine species such as pitch pine, such as lodgepole, further northward. But right now this is an unusually high amount of smoke. I don't ever remember seeing this. If this doesn't show you something is wrong with the planet, I don't know what will. But this pattern here is unusual. All right. Now you say there's a trough. You see the trough over the Great Lakes. This has been the pattern. It's kept us in murky, humid, kind of cloudy weather all summer. This is the way our summers have been now. We actually lack the extreme heat we used to get. But what we get is day after day of lots of clouds and humidity, because what this signifies is there's a ridge in the west, a trough over the Great Lakes, and then another ridge, another high pressure ridge right here in the Atlantic, which you'll see when I look at later, weather maps, because I'm going to show you that too. And so this means that fronts that try to come through wind up stalling out, usually in or near our area, keeping us in the humidity, keeping us in the clouds. We're not really seeing any blue skies. We're not, it's been pretty bad. You haven't seen much Pine Barrens videos from me this summer because the weather has just been that bad. It's been absolutely torrid. All right, this is the way summers have become now here in the Northeast. So you can see the smoke just diving down here. This is pretty crazy. So let's go over to July 1st, and you can see the smoke has now dove through here, dove all the way down to Georgia and South Carolina and North Carolina. The smoke, thousands of miles, and they're seeing hazy skies. This smoke could probably go all around the globe, just like with the Siberian wildfires back in April, and I showed you those images. All right, so actually I could go and show you the images from the Siberian wildfire smoke on here too. It's a great sight, by the way. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to fast forward a little bit here. You can see the smoke, huge mass of smoke here, just a huge mass of smoke. This is all this gray is smoke that is just drifting into the United States from Canada. If you go to July 3rd, it's pretty clear that this huge area of smoke has now gone over the Great Lakes, and in some parts of the Great Lakes, the upper Great Lakes, particularly in Wisconsin and Minnesota and North Dakota, some of the smoky haze has actually reached at ground level, causing reduced visibility. But more or less, it is aloft. You're not smelling it at the ground yet. And you can see it's going into the Great Lakes, and then we forward to July 4th. You can see it's moving further and further east here, getting literally just a huge wad of smoke. I'll just call it that already. And then you can see finally July 5th, when I took those pictures, you could see it's now over our area, drifting in over our area here, literally up over. This is all, this gray haze is all smoke. The bright white, those are clouds, but the gray, that's all smoke. That's right, that's all smoke. And let's now take a look and see where this smoke is coming from. Let's go ahead And look, and you can see right here, these are all the fires right here burning right now in western Canada, central and western Canada. This is just one area of fires. Look at all that. I mean, we're talking huge fires, huge, like the size of a state. All right, that's how big they are. I've never seen anything like this. We'll fast forward to today. You can see now that the smoke that was put out from those fires has now formed another wad that will wind up getting sucked down into the jet stream here. So we can't win, even if we could get into this drier air up in Canada. This sky is going to mostly be all hazed up from all this smoke. And it's just, and there's more smoke over here because there's more fires over here off in British Columbia. So there's fires here, there's fires in Alaska too. Fires here, see the smoke? And fires in Alaska too. Let's go to Alaska here. And you can see that there'll be fires there too. Take you back a couple of days here. See, there's the smoke from those fires. So literally fires burning all over the north. And the medias are not, here you go. Here's a really good image. Look at that. The media has really been ignoring it. Everybody is just ignoring the obvious here, that we have a serious problem with our climate. Literally, our Earth is burning. And nobody seems alarmed about it. It's amazing. You just keep driving, keep burning those fossil fuels. Nobody seems alarmed about this at all. It's amazing. This smoke from Alaska is probably going to wind up going into Siberia. So that's what's going on. You can see just huge. The smoke is literally just covering the whole northern hemisphere almost. Nobody seems alarmed. Nobody seems worried. I don't understand why. That's for sure. In the next clip, we're going to look at some weather information, water temperatures, weather maps, and show you the unusual patterns we've been experiencing with the weather. And it's just one other thing I want to show you here, actually. I just noticed this. See that? That's a contrail. I don't know if you can see that. This here, that's a jet contrail. That's another thing that's changing our climate. Nobody seems too upset about either. We're just happily, blissfully unaware that we're actually going to contribute to our own demise if we keep ignoring these problems. All right. We're looking at, this may be a little grainy, but we're looking at some maps here. Excuse me, I'll start that over again. All right. These are maps of the ocean temperatures. And this map you see here, it's kind of a low grainy resolution. But this map you see over here is a map of the anomaly, the sea surface temperature anomaly in Celsius. And this is, it's grainy, but you can see Long Island, New England, New Jersey here. And this was a recent, I think it was from early July, of the sea surface temperatures. Anomaly, the anomaly of the sea surface temperatures. This dark red you see here, that is sea surface temperatures 5 degrees Celsius. We're talking this in Fahrenheit. This is Celsius. You figure probably 8 or 9 degrees Fahrenheit above what they should be. This is way above normal. Way above normal. The water temperatures entering July are supposed to be, I guess, the mid-60s. Well, they're over 70 already. All right, so very unusual, but not a surprise when you consider the pattern we're in with that ridge offshore constantly pumping the humidity. Humidity will warm up the oceans faster than anything else. All right? Humidity will warm them up fast. And that's exactly what's going on here with the sea surface temperatures. And this is not a good thing because when hurricane season comes around, you know that any hurricanes or tropical storms that form will not weaken if they do make it into our waters. And they could strengthen. Look at what happened with Hurricane Sandy. That was a global warming storm right there. That was a global warming storm. The track was unusual because of a blocking ridge in the Atlantic, which we have right now, but also because of the warm ocean temperatures, that the storm actually didn't weaken. It picked up strength as it picked up energy from the warm water when it arrived on our shores. So that is another reason why global warming is putting us all at risk. Some people, they just don't want to face the music. So now let's go ahead and look at this other map here. I'm going to move this over here like this. Hopefully you can see that. I'll drag this over here. Alright, this is a sea surface temperature map. This is actual sea surface temperature in degrees Fahrenheit. This one should be a little clearer for you. You can see Long Island here, and you can see the water temperature is already in the low 70s. Low 70s, already low 70s. Alright, our water temperature should be mid to upper 60s. We're not even in August yet. This is our average water temperature for August right here. This is usually where it peaks at 71, 72. Imagine how much higher it's going to get if we keep this up. And if you go not too far offshore, you could see purples. That's water temperature in the 80s. 80 sea surface temperature in the 80s. This does not bode well for hurricane or tropical storm season with a pattern like this. People will tell you, oh, it's El Nino, we're not going to see anything. But this is still something to be aware of. If a storm forms, it's not going to weaken. It's going to strengthen. The Gulf Stream has literally been exploding the past couple of summers. We've had very, very high sea surface temperatures. These high sea surface temperatures actually during the winter contributed to all the snowstorms we had, because when the cold fronts came down from Canada, they collided with this warm ocean water, which is much warmer than it should have been, and caused more, and it gave these storms more energy and actually resulted in more snowfall for us. Yes, warmer ocean temperatures mean bigger snowstorms, and that's why you're seeing what we've been seeing the past couple of winters with just one epic snowstorm after another, much higher above average snowfall than we should have, and that's because of the warm ocean waters, believe it or not. So now we're going to look at some forecast maps. The last thing I want to show you are these GFS. I'm going to put links in the video if we can get all the data. These GFS 10-day model runs. All right. And they show you pretty much illustrate what's been going on pretty much the whole summer. All right. We've had horrible pattern here. You could see that the cooler air from Canada just can't make it down because we have this big ridge in the Atlantic. This is the same ridge that steered Sandy our way. This huge ridge in the Atlantic, you could see literally, if you look at the isobars, you know how to read weather maps, you'll be able to see this huge ridge in the Atlantic, especially when we look toward the bottom. Let's move this down. Especially when we look toward the bottom, you'll be able to see this huge Bermuda high set up. Now, Bermuda highs are typical in the summer, or something we have that sets up. All right, but the problem is that we don't get a break from the Bermuda high. It's been there. The Atlantic ridge has been here since June. We have not had a cold front make it all the way through since before the beginning of June. Some have moved through and then they stalled to the south. That's what's going on. The cold fronts, you can see here in this latest one, which is a good, I like this last frame here on the bottom. You could really see that the cold front tries to make it through. This is by next week, about a week from now. And literally the front just stalls. It just hangs up. The upper Great Lakes, they get the beautiful, cool air, but we just get this humidity, constant humidity feed, literally from the Gulf of Mexico, from the Atlantic, just a constant feed of humidity all summer long. This is what we get all summer long. We don't get a break from it. So if the summers have been getting more humid, it's not your imagination. They have been. They haven't been getting as hot because the ridge, this ridge here, stays out over the Atlantic instead of retrograding west. And so now if the ridge centered over the southeast states, we'd be getting that really hot air from the middle of the country. We're not. We're getting it from the tropics, and that's why it's just humid most of the time. And that's what's been going on with our summers. It's just another face of climate change. The climate is changing. We have a serious problem with it. I'm going to just go back to this again, the satellite view here from the day. We have a serious problem with our climate. And, if you can't see that, I don't know what to tell you. The other thing is London. They've been baking in Europe. I mean, highs well into the 90s. Unusual heat in Europe. Once again, these places aren't supposed to be getting that hot. We have a climate that is sick, a planet that is sick, and we really need to start I mean, stop. We need to start listening and stop ignoring what's going on, because, like I said, we will, if we keep this up with the greenhouse gases from the carbon emissions, then we will wind up leading to not only the destruction of our environment, but very possible the extinction of our own human race. All right, so it's a serious problem. People need to take it seriously instead of ignoring it. This should be right up there. Everybody's debating with the presidential debates soon enough, and yet this is always left out. This is always left out, and this should be one of the most important things, that we should be dealing with right now. You may ask, well, how do we do that? What are the answers? It's a complicated situation, but we knew what we should have done years ago, and that was to curb our greenhouse gas emissions, more fuel-efficient vehicles, less reliance on fossil fuels. There's no reason to be burning fossil fuels like we are now. There's no reason at all. It could stop. It could stop tomorrow, but the rich and the big corporations, especially our corrupt politicians, are beholden to big oil. Don't want that to happen, and they want to keep you brainwashed into believing you keep needing to burn fossil fuels. Solar panels on our roofs, more fuel-efficient cars, maybe electric cars in the future, generating our electric from nuclear sources, geothermal, wind, all that stuff is all possible. We don't need to be relying on fossil fuels like we are now. You can't just quit cold turkey, but we should have started years and years ago on converting our energy infrastructure over to something healthy for this planet. But now I fear it may be too late. The signs are coming, and they're coming swift. So hopefully you take this video to heart, and hopefully I gave you some more information. And please look at the links that I provided in the description below so you can look at some of this amazing imagery. Thank you.